CTP here with Back and Forth Sports. All right, let's get down to it. The conference championship games, both great games, but both marred at the end. Obviously, the one between the Saints and the Rams, the no call, it blatantly obvious, especially in slow-mo. Give the refs a little bit of benefit out. They weren't watching it in slow-mo, but on that play, I was actually distracted, kind of looked off to the right, and then kind of glanced back, and I saw the pass interference. Of course, again, different angle. But how that ref missed it, I have no idea. That was so obvious. And that, for those who don't realize how that affected the game, since they kicked the field goal anyway, the Saints could have ran the clock out, then kicked the field goal. Of course, butterfly effect, it's possible that the kick would have been so easy, the kicker messed up. We've seen that in the past before. Before they moved the extra points back as far as they have now, back when it was snapping it from the 3 or 2, whatever, people still missed blatantly easy PATs on occasion. And a lot of times in key moments, as the Saints, they know about that. But most likely, they would have ran the clock down, kicked the last-second field goal, game over, and won in overtime. Speaking of overtime, let's go over the other game. Now, some people think the big what marred that game was the roughing the passer when Brady's face mask may have got grazed. I can't even tell if it got touched or not. If it did, then according to the rules, that's a penalty. Now, I would like it to go the way college is, and they review unnecessary roughness calls, at least the ones for targeting. But, I mean, if you're going to do that, you might as well make sure a guy smacked the dude in the face if it's illegal and it's going to affect the game. And that's probably one thing they're talking about, a lot of people are talking about now, and the league needs to talk about, is let refs or let coaches throw that red flag on plays like the Saints game. Let them throw the flag on the possible phantom roughing the passer, brushing Brady's helmet. But what really marred the Patriots KC game was overtime. And I'll tell you why. You had one team who had one of the best offenses in the league and one of the worst defenses in the league, and both teams were dead tired in that game. I thought to myself, and it's easy for me to just say it, whoever wins the coin toss is probably going to win the game, because both defenses were having a hard time stopping anything at that point. And you give the ball to either of those teams, they're probably just going to march down and score a touchdown. That's easy to say, but hindsight, that's what happened. The game came down to a coin toss. You have people saying, oh, Brady outdid Mahomes. He didn't really outdo Mahomes. Mahomes played 4 quarters. Brady played 5. After 4 quarters, they were even. How did Brady outdo Mahomes? Mahomes never had a shot because his defense couldn't stop anything. And probably if Mahomes or the Chiefs would have won the coin toss, Mahomes probably would have marched down the field and won the game. Not guaranteed. Like I said, hindsight, 50-50. No, 2020, 50-50 something else. Hindsight's 2020. So, in that, that brings up the argument again. Does NFL need to change their overtime rules? I think so. I had a discussion with someone. Should it go to college rules? They don't like that because it's changing the game. Like, okay. At least give both teams the equal amount of times with the ball. So if we'll take this game into a hypothetical situation with new rules, where both teams get equal amount of possessions. Patriots get the ball. They drive downfield, score a touchdown. KC gets the ball. They have to drive down the field to get a touchdown or lose. And after they get a touchdown, they could go for 2 and just win the game. Or if they miss it, they'll lose. But if they tie it up and they kick it off, Patriots go down the field and they kick a field goal. Then the Chiefs will have to come down the field and at least kick a field goal or the game's over. The Patriots go down, not score anything, and then Chiefs come down, score, game's over. It's in the NFL and football in general. Well, maybe not lower levels where you have players playing both sides of the ball. You have two completely different teams on one team. You have an offensive team and you have a defensive team. You also have special teams made up of a menagerie of players from both. But it's two separate teams. It's not like baseball where the guys hitting are the ones fielding other than the designated hitter. It's like basketball where the exact same players are playing offense and defense. In every other sport, at least those sports, it's the same players playing defense, playing offense. Why is a coin toss deciding the game? It's still deciding the game. It's not as much as when you could just go down and kick a field goal, but it still needs fixed. And if you don't want to go to college rules, go to what I just said, where each team gets even amount of possessions. Now, I have some comments I got from Mike Bragg about this, and I'll reply to him. After I mentioned to him the game that came down to a coin toss, he says, "Really? Can't stop one of them? No, the game came down to the greatest of all time versus defense that couldn't stop your mom from getting to the fridge. Fire the D coordinator in the locker room." Like I said, both defenses were dead tired. One was terrible, and the other couldn't stop the Chiefs because Chiefs had one of the best offenses in the league that year. And yeah, they did fire the D coordinator anyway, because it did cost them the game. If they had a better defense, they might not have been 31-31 at the end of the game, at the end of regulation. 3 3rd and 10s, as in the Chiefs gave up 3 3rd and 10s in the fourth quarter. Or maybe it's talking about overtime, I forget. But there were a bunch of third downs that the Chiefs gave up, and one of them was a bailout. Well, for starters, one of them was a bailout by themselves because that dude lined up so far off sides. I don't know what he was thinking. He was probably just tired. But then, again, with the possible phantom roughing the passer, brushing the face mask, bailed them out. All right. Oh, we also have a comment from Tommy. Yeah, the guy doesn't line up offside. Can't say he's in the Super Bowl. True. Mike Bragg says, "I would have fired the defensive coordinator in the tunnel on the way to the locker room if I was Reed." D Ford being offside is on the D coordinator too. He could have called a timeout and delayed the inevitable. True. Yeah, I think that's more Andy Reid's job. I think the head coach controls discipline. More about the D coordinator's job to make sure his team's disciplined. Again, I say that's a head coach. Fast forward. Mike Bragg says NCAA overtime rules are trash because it changes the rules. And here we go. Here's his big comment. "I'm cool with NFL overtime rules the way they are right now. I mean, feel free to make a play if you're on defense. Feel free to not get torn apart on 3rd and 10 like clockwork. I like that they made it so that you can't lose by a field goal without getting an opportunity to possess the ball. That was good because that's a little cheap. But there's two sides of the ball, and just guaranteeing each side gets the ball is disrespectful to the defense. I mean, Al Harris ended a postseason overtime game with a pick six on the opening drive. I was cool with that. Again, you literally had two teams who couldn't stop anything at that point. Most likely, hindsight, blah, blah, blah. I think they need to change rules. I don't know what you think. We're about to close this out. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. Comment what your thoughts on both games were. Like and subscribe, turn on notifications. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you can.